I found my mother who abandoned us 25 years ago and exposed her to her new family. Now everyone is telling me I've gone too far. I still can't believe what happened yesterday. My hands are shaking as I type this. I never thought I'd be the kind of person to cause a scene, but something in me just snapped after all these years. I was standing in the middle of an upscale department store when I saw her. The woman who gave birth to me and then disappeared when I was 7 years old. My mother. Except she wasn't alone, she was with her picture-perfect family. A husband who looked like he stepped out of a Brooks Brothers catalog, a teenage daughter with her same heart-shaped face, and a young son clinging to her hand. They were laughing about something, looking like a scene from a Hallmark movie. 25 years. That's how long it had been since she walked out our front door and never came back. 25 years of my father raising 3 kids alone while working 2 jobs. 25 years of my little sister crying herself to sleep, asking when mommy was coming home. 25 years of holidays with an empty chair that nobody talked about. And there she was, living what looked like a perfect upper-middle-class life less than 30 miles from where she abandoned us. I didn't plan what happened next. I just found myself walking toward them, my shopping bags forgotten on the floor behind me. The expression on her face when she recognized me, I'll never forget it. Pure terror. Like she'd seen a ghost. I guess in a way, she had. "Mom?" I said, my voice cracking. "Is that really you?" Her new family looked confused. The husband stepped forward protectively. "I think you have my wife confused with someone else," he said politely. "No, I don't think I do." My voice was surprisingly steady. "Unless Rebecca Wilson isn't her name. Though I guess she probably changed it." The color drained from her face. "Nathan, take the kids to the food court," she said quietly to her husband. "I'll handle this." But I wasn't about to let her control the narrative. Not again. Not after everything. "Don't you want to introduce me?" I asked, loud enough that her daughter turned back to look at us. "I'm Alex. Your wife's oldest son. The one she left behind." What followed was chaos. Her husband's face went from confusion to shock. Her daughter started asking rapid-fire questions. And my mother, Rebecca, or whatever she calls herself now, looked like she wanted to disappear into the floor. I shouldn't have done it. I know that. But 25 years of anger doesn't just evaporate. And now my phone won't stop ringing with calls from her husband, even from my own family telling me I've gone too far. But have I? After everything she did? I need to back up and explain how we got here. My earliest memories of my mother are mixed. She was beautiful, everyone said so. Long auburn hair, green eyes that crinkled when she laughed. She could be so much fun when she was in a good mood, spontaneous trips to the beach, dance parties in the kitchen, bedtime stories with different voices for each character. But there was another side to her. She would disappear into her bedroom for days, claiming migraines. She'd snap at the smallest things. A spilled glass of juice could send her into a tirade. My father walked on eggshells around her, and so did we. My brother Jake, who's 2 years younger than me, developed a stutter. My sister Emily, the baby at just 3 when mom left, became pathologically shy. We never knew which version of mom we'd get on any given day. I learned early to read her moods, to try to buffer my siblings from her darker days. Even at 7, I was taking on a role no child should have too. The day she left wasn't dramatic. That's what has always haunted me. There was no big fight, no screaming match with Dad. She made us breakfast, pancakes shaped like Mickey Mouse, kissed us each on the forehead, and said she was running to the store. Dad was at work. We watched cartoons and waited. By dinner, Dad was frantic. He called neighbors, friends, hospitals. 2 days later, he filed a missing person report. Her car was found at the bus station. Some of her clothes and our family photo albums were gone. A week later, she emptied their joint bank account. Dad was devastated. We were confused. Why would mommy leave without saying goodbye? Was it something we did? Would she come back if we were better? The weeks turned to months, then years. Dad never remarried. He worked himself to exhaustion providing for us. My grandmother moved in to help until I was old enough to care for Jake and Emily after school. We became a tight unit, Dad, Grandma Rose, and the 3 of us against the world. We heard rumors over the years. A cousin thought they saw her in Chicago. Dad's friend from college swore she was waiting tables in Florida. But nothing concrete, and Dad discouraged us from pursuing these leads. She made her choice, he would say, his voice flat. We need to make ours, to move forward. But how do you move forward when the person who was supposed to love you unconditionally decides you're not worth staying for? I tried therapy in college. Went through angry phases where I fantasized about finding her just to tell her off. Then periods where I convinced myself she must have had a mental break or been in danger, anything to explain the inexplicable. By my late 20s, I had mostly made peace with it. Or so I thought. I built a good life. I became an architect, bought a house in the suburbs, got engaged to Mia, an incredible woman who somehow loved me despite my trust issues. Jake overcame his stutter and became a high school science teacher. Emily struggled more, anxiety, depression, a brief addiction to pills in her early 20s, but got through it. She's a social worker now, helping kids from broken homes. Dad retired last year. At his retirement party, he finally opened up after a few beers. I wasn't enough for her, he said quietly when the guests had gone. She always wanted more excitement, more money, more everything. I was just a small-town accountant with big dreams that never materialized. It broke my heart all over again. This good man had spent 25 years thinking he was the reason she left, when the truth was she just didn't want the life she had created with us. Which brings me back to yesterday. I was shopping for a birthday gift for Mia when I saw them. That perfect family. My replacement family. After my outburst, a store manager appeared, asking if everything was okay. My mother, I still struggle to call her that, composed herself quickly. Everything's fine. Just a misunderstanding, she said smoothly. Then to me, we should talk privately. Please. Her husband had ushered the children away but was watching us intently from a distance. I nodded stiffly and followed her to the store's cafe area. We sat at a corner table, as far from other customers as possible. You look good, Alex, she said after an uncomfortable silence. I've wondered about you. About all of you. Not enough to check if we were alive, I replied. She flinched. I know how it must seem. Do you? Do you have any idea what it did to us? What it did to Dad? To Emily? She was 3, Mom. 3. She didn't understand why her mother disappeared. I was sick, Alex. Not physically, mentally. I had severe postpartum depression after Emily that never went away. It turned into something darker. I couldn't be the mother you deserved. So you found new kids to try again with? What happens when it gets hard with them? You disappear again? Tears filled her eyes. It hasn't been as simple as you think. After I left, I was in a very bad place. I lived in my car for a while, worked minimum wage jobs. I got help eventually, intensive therapy, medication. I met Nathan when I was waiting tables at a conference he attended. He knew everything about my past from the beginning. Everything except that you had 3 children? I challenged. She looked down. He knew I had children I'd left. Not the details. I convinced myself you were better off without me. That reaching out would only reopen wounds. That was convenient for you. Yes, she admitted quietly. It was. It was selfish. I was ashamed, and the longer I stayed away, the harder it became to imagine coming back. And your new kids? Do they know they have siblings? No, she whispered. Sophia is 16. Tyler is 8. I wanted to tell them when they were older, but you never planned on us finding you, I finished for her. I moved back to the area 5 years ago when Nathan got transferred. I've driven by your father's house a few times. I saw Jake coaching a soccer game once. I've followed your careers online. I know Emily struggled. I know you're engaged. I didn't know how to bridge that gap. I sat there, absorbing the fact that she had been watching us from the shadows while building a new life that didn't include us. The anger I thought I'd processed years ago came roaring back. You don't get to be a voyeur in our lives, I said, my voice rising despite myself. You made a choice. Every single day for 25 years, you chose not to call, not to write, not to show up. Do you know Dad never even filed for divorce? He kept hoping you'd come home. A strangled sound escaped her. I didn't know that, she said. Of course you didn't. Because you never asked. I stood up, suddenly needing to be anywhere but there. I have to go. Alex, please, she reached for my arm. Can we talk more? Can I explain properly? Maybe with your sister and brother sometime? I laughed bitterly. You think they want to see you? Emily has panic attacks whenever someone she loves is late coming home. Jake couldn't say his own name without stuttering until he was 15. I want to make amends, she pleaded. I've been in recovery, working through my issues. Recovery is for you, I cut her off. Amends are for us. And it's 25 years too late. As I walked away, her husband approached, his face grave. Alex, is it? I'm Nathan. I understand this is a shock, but Rebecca has worked very hard to become a different person than the one who left you. She's been an amazing mother to our children. Something in me snapped at his words. Good for her. I'm glad my siblings and I were just the practice round. I pushed past him and nearly ran from the store. Once in my car, I broke down completely. I called Jake, sobbing so hard he could barely understand me. He and Emily came to my house immediately. We stayed up all night, processing what had happened. Emily vacillated between wanting to see her and being terrified of the prospect. Jake was quiet, methodical in his questioning, the science teacher in him wanting all the data before forming a conclusion. Should we tell Dad? Emily finally asked around 3 a.m. We sat in silence, considering. Our father had finally found peace in recent years. He had friends at the golf course, was talking about taking a cruise, had even gone on a few dates. He deserves to know, Jake said eventually. But it should come from her, not us. I disagreed. She lost the right to control this narrative. If we don't tell him, and he runs into her somewhere. In the end, we decided to tell him together the next day. But we never got the chance. This morning, my phone started ringing at 7 a.m. It was my father, his voice shaking with anger and hurt. Rebecca called me, he said without preamble. She said you confronted her at the mall. That you made a scene in front of her children. Dad, No, listen to me, Alex, I've spent 25 years trying to protect you kids from the pain she caused. Building a life that didn't revolve around her absence. And now you've opened all of this up again. She's been living 30 miles away. With a whole new family. Didn't you deserve to know that? He was quiet for a long moment. What I deserved and what I needed are different things, son. I made peace with her leaving a long time ago. I had too, for you kids. But she just gets to start over like we never existed? That's not right. Life isn't about what's right, he sighed. It's about what is. And now we have to deal with this situation you've created. After we hung up, I got texts from both Jake and Emily. Dad had called them too. Emily was distraught that our mother had reached out to Dad before her. Jake was pragmatic as usual, suggesting we all meet to discuss next steps. Then came the call that really threw me. Nathan, my mother's husband. He'd gotten my number from Dad. I understand you're angry, he said, his voice controlled but tense. But I need you to understand something. Sophia overheard more than you realize yesterday. She locked herself in her room last night and looked all of you up online. She's devastated learning her mother abandoned 3 other children. Guilt twisted in my stomach. I never meant to hurt an innocent teenager. I'm sorry about that. But she was going to learn the truth eventually. Not like this, he said firmly. Rebecca has been working with her therapist for years on how to eventually tell our children about her past. You've undone years of preparation in one impulsive moment. What do you want from me? I asked tiredly. I want you to consider meeting with us, all of us, in a controlled environment. Perhaps with a family therapist present. Rebecca wants to make amends, and now our children need answers too. After we hung up, I sat on my back porch, watching the neighborhood kids play in the summer sprinklers. Children who had no idea how quickly their worlds could implode. I thought about the girl, Sophia, who shared my mother's heart-shaped face and now knew her mother had another family first. A family she'd abandoned. I called Mia, who had been at a conference when all this happened. Her reaction surprised me. You've been carrying this wound your entire life, Alex, she said gently. Maybe this is a chance to finally heal it. I don't want to heal anything with her, I insisted. She doesn't deserve forgiveness. Forgiveness isn't about what people deserve, Mia said. It's about releasing yourself from the prison of anger. And think about it, don't you have questions you've wanted answered for 25 years? She was right. Of course she was right. That's why I'm marrying her. I texted Jake and Emily, asking if they would consider a mediated family meeting. Jake responded immediately with a yes. Emily took longer. Finally, I'm scared, but I'll do it if you and Jake are there. Now I'm sitting here, typing this all out, trying to process everything that's happened in the last 36 hours. Tomorrow, we're meeting at a neutral therapy office. All of us, Dad, Jake, Emily and me. Mom, it still feels strange to call her that, Nathan, and their 2 kids. The therapist is someone who specializes in family reunification. I don't know what to expect. Part of me is still raging with the injustice of it all. Another part wants answers to questions that have haunted me for a quarter century. And a small, vulnerable part that I barely acknowledge wants to know if she ever loved us at all. Just minutes ago, I got a text from Sophia, my half-sister, That has me completely rattled. Nathan must have given her my number. It simply said, "I've always wanted siblings. I'm sorry for how I'm getting them. See you tomorrow." How am I supposed to hate a kid who writes something like that? The reality is hitting me now. These kids are innocent. They didn't ask for a mother with a secret past any more than we asked to be abandoned. And now my impulsive actions have forced all of us into a situation none of us were prepared for. Last night, I went through old photo albums, the ones she didn't take with her. There's a picture of her holding me in the hospital, looking exhausted but radiant. Another of her teaching me to ride a bike, her hands protectively on the seat. If all I had were these photographic memories, I'd think we had a perfect mother who adored us. But I also remember the dark days. The time she forgot to pick us up from school and was found sleeping in her car in the driveway. The birthday party she ruined by yelling at Dad over something trivial. The week she didn't get out of bed, and 7-year-old me tried to make mac and cheese for my siblings because Dad was working late. Was that mental illness? Postpartum depression that evolved into something more serious, as she claimed? Or was she just selfish and unprepared for the reality of raising 3 kids on a modest income in a small town? I guess I might get answers tomorrow. Or I might get more carefully crafted excuses. Either way, I have to face her, and the half-siblings I never knew I had. Dad called again this evening. He sounded tired. "I never wanted you kids to carry this burden," he said. "I always hoped she'd reach out when you were adults, explain herself to you directly." "Would you have wanted to know she was back in the area?" I asked. He was quiet so long I thought we'd been disconnected. "Yes," he finally admitted. "But not because I want her back. Because after all this time, I deserve to know why I wasn't enough." That broke me. My stoic father, who never complained, who worked double shifts and still made it to every soccer game and dance recital, who learned to braid Emily's hair and cook nutritious meals and be both parents to us, he still thinks he wasn't enough. Mia came over after her conference ended and held me while I cried. "What if I turn out like her?" I asked, voicing my deepest fear. "What if there's something in the genes, and one day I just walk away from you, from our future kids?" "The fact that you worry about that means it won't happen," she said firmly. "You're not your mother, Alex. You never have been." I hope she's right. Because standing in that department store, looking at the terror in my mother's eyes when her past caught up with her, I felt something unsettling, a flicker of recognition. Like looking in a mirror and seeing a reflection that's almost, but not quite, your own. Tomorrow will change everything, again. 25 years of carefully constructed barriers will come down. New relationships may form, or old wounds might deepen. I don't know if I made the right choice confronting her so publicly. Would I have been better off walking away, pretending I hadn't seen her? Letting her continue her separate life while we continued ours? But that choice was stolen from me the moment I saw her with her perfect new family. And now all of us, the abandoned and the replacements, have to find a way forward in this mess I've created. Is it wrong that part of me is glad I've disrupted her carefully constructed life? That the perfect facade she built has crumbled because of me? Does that make me as selfish as her? I keep thinking about Sophia's text. "I've always wanted siblings. What would my life have been like if I'd known about her? Would we have shared holidays, inside jokes, the special bond that Jake, Emily and I have? Or would it have been awkward, strained, a constant reminder of our mother's betrayal?" Jake just texted, "Whatever happens tomorrow, we're still us. The 3 of us and Dad. That doesn't change." He's right. Whatever story my mother tells tomorrow, whatever justifications or apologies she offers, it doesn't change the family we built without her. We survived. We thrived, even. Dad made sure of that. I'm going to try to sleep now, though I doubt I'll manage much. Tomorrow looms like a storm on the horizon, inevitable, potentially destructive, but maybe, just maybe, clearing the air in its wake. Did I go too far in confronting her so publicly? Should I have walked away and protected the new innocent family she created? Or did they deserve to know the truth about the woman raising them? What would you have done if you suddenly came face to face with the parent who abandoned you decades ago?